Hey guys, I am Dani with Skye Gardens. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I am starting my seeds indoors for the fall. This year, I'm going to be growing a ton of flowers, not as many vegetables. So I have all of my hardy annual flowers and then a couple of perennials that I am starting. So it is kind of end of September. I'm going to get my seeds going inside, and then I should be transplanting them outside the end of October, along with direct sowing anything that I want to get established. I will do that when I transplant these at the end of October. So let me show you kind of my setup and what I am doing lately with starting seeds, and hopefully this will give you some good tips to start seeds yourself this fall. All right, so I got all my goodies laid out here on the table. So I have all of my seed packets. Now I actually put my seeds inside these bead containers for storage just because they're airtight. I can see the seeds and make sure that they look okay. And then I have, like a dork, a handy spreadsheet where I have the plant, the variety, where it's from, the year, and then what seed storage spot that it's in. Also, before I even got all this out to do today, I planned out what and how much and where I was going to plant everything, so that way I know how many seeds to start. And then I went through my planner and just made a list every month as for what things that I need to do that month. So right now for September to start indoors, I'm going to be doing status, stock, snapdragons, yarrow, pansies, rudbeckia, poppies, larkspur, and lavender. So a bunch of seeds. I'll probably end up using 2 trays to get all these going, but super excited to see how these do over the fall and the winter. Let me give you an up-close view. So this is a layout of my raised beds in the back. So I just kind of took each bed, put down what I want to grow, how many grow in each square foot, and then how many successions of each plant I'm going to do. This does not include anything that I'm planting in my pollinator garden or the front yard, which I think I have. Oh yeah, I do have it written down here. So I have some things that I'm going to grow in the front yard, what I'm going to be growing in crates and bags, and then just kind of a general timeline of, okay, here's what I'm going to do in September, here's what I'm going to do in October, November, January, and January. And that will kind of be it as far as growing over the fall and the winter for all of my spring flowers. And then, like I said, I went through my planner and just kind of wrote down what I need to do each month. So that's September. And then here's October, which is super, super busy. And then here is all my seeds. I went ahead and pulled out the seed packets of everything I'm starting today. And then I'll go through and find them in all their little spots using my spreadsheet. So I'm kind of an organization nut, and I just find that this works better for me with maintaining good seed storage. So a couple of new things that I'm doing this year for seed starting is I am switching from these pots back here to trays, just because I'm starting so many more seeds and I was running out of space. So I invested in these trays from Johnny's, and they are awesome. I used one of them in the spring. So it has a water catch tray. This is a 72 cell tray right here, and it comes with a humidity dome. You can order these in sets of 5. Like I said, right now I'll be using 2 of them. In the spring I'll probably be using like 3 or 4. I'll give you an up close view here, these in a second. And then I always use this Jiffy seed starting mix. I will link this below on my Amazon page. It's awesome. I mix this with a little bit of water and pack it down in the trays. And then this year, because some of the seeds are so little and they need light to germinate, I'm going to be covering some of them with vermiculite, which kind of just helps retain moisture on the level to get the seeds to germinate, but doesn't cover them so much that they can't get the light to grow. So we're going to try this out. I haven't done this before, but this is how I've seen some flower farmers do it, so why not? All right, so here's a close-up of the tray. 72 cells. So this size is good for majority of things. You're gonna want a little bit bigger size for larger items, like if you do broccoli or tomatoes, you know, bigger vegetables, bigger perennials, but for most flowers, this is fine. Or if you start the bigger plants in these, you'll want to pot them up. I'm lazy and I don't like to do that. So that's why I was historically using these big pots, which if I was still growing vegetables, for some of the larger vegetables, I would still use these. But you can see there's holes for the water to wick down or up, and there is the catch tray. A lot of people will bottom water. I don't do that. I usually just water on the soil level with a squirt bottle, and that works just fine. So here you can see that I dumped out all the seed starting soil in this bucket. And originally it comes kind of moist, but like this old soil I've saved has dried out. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of water. So now you can see with enough water, the consistency is, you know, it's moist and you can squeeze it together, but it's not like soaking wet. So this is kind of how you want it to look. So you can pack it down in the trays and it's nice and moist, but you know, you don't want it like leaking so much water out. All right, so I got both my trays filled up. So two 72 plug trays was about 1 bag of Jiffy Mix. So that's good to know. Usually if I'm using like the little pots, I think 1 bag of these filled up about, I don't know, I want to say maybe like 40. And I wouldn't fill it, you know, all the way up, but just get you a bag of mix, and you can order these online off Amazon, or you can, a lot of times you can find them at like Lowe's or Home Depot, maybe even Walmart. But I just like the seed starting mixes because usually they have a little bit more peat moss in them to keep them really light and fluffy. So it allows the seed to make roots a lot easier than traditional potting soil or topsoil. Now the next thing I'm gonna do before I even go to plant any seeds is make my labels. And I like using these plant tags because I can just slide them in the tray really easily, and then when it comes time to transplant these outside, I can then take these tags outside. So if it's just like one general plant like lavender, I only have one variety of lavender, then I just write lavender. But if it's something that I have several varieties of, like my stock, then I write stock and then I write the variety. So this is just, you know, a good way to keep track of everything, both inside and outside. And I got this handy little pin, which is pretty weatherproof, off of Amazon. So I will link all this stuff below as well. All right, let's get to planting. I've got my tray set up here. I've got all my tags made. I went ahead and did my first row, which is lavender. And then my second one is yarrow. So I get my tag, I go ahead and put it down in the tray, and then I get my seed packet. And on this seed packet on the back, it says, do not cover seed as light aids germination. So that means I want to sprinkle the seed like right on top of the soil. And like I said, I'm just going to sprinkle a little vermiculite on top to help maintain moisture, but allow light to get through to help that seed germinate. So then I go to my handy spreadsheet, and my yarrow is in number 41. So I go to my tray here, and you can see that the yarrow is so teeny that it comes in like a little bag so that you don't lose the seeds. So I'm just gonna take a couple and just kind of sprinkle them on the top. And then I still have some left over. I will try to delicately put them back in here and save them. Most seeds you can save for at least 2 to 3 years, if not longer, other than pelleted seed. Pelleted seed you want to use within that year, but I don't really buy any pelleted seed, so I don't really have to worry about that. Okay, we got the yarrow done. Let's move on. And then just a couple of quick tips here. When you're looking to save your seeds, store your seeds, you want to keep them someplace where it's dry and cool. And that's why I like these bead containers, because, you know, I can pick up the seed, look at it, you know, and make sure it's not moldy, that it still looks viable, it's not germinating, so it's not too hot. And these are airtight. Oh, those are my sunflowers. There we go. And it's just a really easy way to save a whole bunch of seeds in a small space. And I just keep these in a cabinet in my office. Now, a second tip when it comes time for planting, plant more than one seed in a spot unless it's really big. So like I just showed you, those sunflower seeds are huge. But for instance, here in number 31, I'm not sure what these are, but you can see these are a lot smaller seeds. So you might want to sprinkle a couple of these in case they don't germinate. The bigger ones are typically easier to germinate and easier to space out, but don't be afraid to use more seeds. You can always thin them out later. Now the next seeds I'm going to do are stock. So I have 3 different types that I'm doing, and where I'm gonna put my stock, I need 36 plants right now. And you always wanna start extra. Expect about a 70% germination rate on anything you plant. If you get more than that, great. But if you lose a few, then you've planted extra. So I need to get 36 going right now. I have 3 different varieties, so I'm gonna do 12 of each. And then next month I'm gonna come in, well, either next month or November, I'm gonna come in and start a second succession. And for some of the flowers, the reason why I'm doing multiple successions is either because A, they're single cut flowers. So like stock, for instance, one seed grows one flower, and then that's it, it's done. I think there might be a couple that will branch out, but overall they're one and done. Or, other things for succession planting would be if they're gonna grow over a long season and they may start to peter out. So like this last year, I did 3 successions of zinnias, which worked really awesome. So I get those started outside, in March, and they will grow until it freezes, which last year was December. So that's a 9 to 10 month growing season. Now, they can technically grow the whole time, but I find after about 3 to 4 months, they really start to peter out. They're starting to get powdery mildew, so it's good to yank them and plant another succession. So it's something to kind of plan out, know your growing window, how long things might grow for, and think to yourself, okay, do I need multiple successions because they're one and done plants, or do I need multiple successions because they start to kind of peter out? And kind of track, where might that be? Is this something that I just need to get outside and direct sow? Like sunflowers, I'm going outside and planting those every 2 to 3 weeks, just over and over and over. Or, is it something like zinnias where I like to start them inside? So, okay, start inside January, transplant March. Start inside March, transplant May. Start inside May, transplant July. And there you have it. So it does take a little bit of planning, but if you can sit down and kind of map it out, it really, leads to intensive planting where you're making the most of not only your space, but your time as well. All right, enough chit chat. I'm gonna get everything else planted and speed through this, and then we'll talk after. All right, I've got this whole tray done. So now I'm just gonna sprinkle some vermiculite over the top. Like I said, just a light dusting, enough to kind of cover the soil, to still let some light get into these seeds that are sown on the top. And that should be pretty good. And then it's on to the second tray. All right, so here I am up in my seed starting closet. Sorry, the lighting is a little bit bad. I've got the lights down so I can show you the grow light. So I have this shelving unit put up. It has 4 shelves. The top has like a stand grow light and the other ones all have hanging lights. I got these lights from Home Depot, and then I cut some chain with some S-hooks to hang them from the top. And I like doing it this way so I can raise them up as the plants grow. You want to have your light a couple of inches above where the top of the plant is. So when the seeds are germinating, you really want them as close as possible. And then as they're growing, you want to keep that light pretty close so that they're not getting super elongated and trying to really like reach for that light. So that's why I like having the chain, making it adjustable. Back here, which I'll show you a closer up, I have a timer and my lights run for 15 hours a day. You want to do between 12 to 16 hours. And then you want to make sure it's like a full spectrum LED light, which these are. I will link everything below if you want to get your own setup. But I started out in my office. I had like one little clip-on grow light. I had a baking tray with just some little like styrofoam cups. So super basic to start. And then this is where it's at now. And that's taken me a few years. And I've only really kind of done this because I'm starting so many more seeds these days. Otherwise I'd probably still be using my little like flower pots. So yeah, I've got them going, and then later this evening I'll probably come in and just give them like a light dusting of water. And then every day I will be checking on them in the morning and the evening, probably giving them another light dusting of water twice a day just to keep the soil just moist enough to get those seeds to germinate. Once they're germinating, I'll be giving them water like once a day, unless they're looking really dried out. And then every 2 weeks, I will be coming in and fertilizing them with a little bit of fish emulsion just to keep them healthy until it's time to transplant. What else? Oh, when you're growing seeds, so really important is the light. I have not in the past really used humidity domes, but they came with my trays, so I figured why not use them? But I've had success without them. You just want to make sure that the space is maybe a little bit humid and on the moister side. So that's why I chose my upstairs closet, because it does stay fairly warm in here. Or of course you can do this out in your greenhouse. But probably the most important is the light. Some people use heating mats, which are definitely helpful and it'll speed up germination. I don't use those. I just don't feel like spending the money right now, and I find that it's not needed. I have never had a problem growing anything from seed, whether it was a vegetable or a flower, without a heating mat. So if you feel like you want to get one, cool, go for it. In my opinion, they're not necessary for the average like home gardener, backyard gardener, small scale, you know, flower farmer. But you know, if you're growing on a larger scale, I can definitely see where they're, you know, obviously coming in handy. So stay tuned in the upcoming weeks. I'll be sharing kind of more day-to-day stuff on my Instagram. So be sure you go follow me at Skye Gardens. And then I will be posting up a video soon with how I am transforming kind of the backyard. I'm going to be ripping out all my summer annuals and just replenishing the soil, getting the drip irrigation all set up. So I will show you that process soon. And then mid to end October, we will be transplanting and direct sowing outside. So a lot of work coming up in the next month and a half. But thank you guys for tuning in today, and I will see you next time.